NDTV, 17th of August 2022, after docking ship in Lanka, China wants to send occupation troops to Pakistan, report. China already has a significant number of Chinese mercenaries posted in Pakistan and Afghanistan to protect its installations from the wrath of the local disenfranchised population. Having made significant investments in the conflict-prone Pakistan-Afghanistan region as part of its hugely ambitious Belt and Road Initiative, China is planning to protect its interests in the two countries by stationing its forces in specially created outposts, according to top diplomatic sources. China has been keen to expand its influence to Central Asia through the Pakistan-Afghanistan route and has made strategic investments in the two countries. A Chinese ship with abilities to track satellites and intercontinental missiles docked at Sri Lanka's Hambantota port Tuesday morning amid snooping concerns expressed by India. According to some estimates, Chinese investments have risen above $60 billion, and Pakistan depends on China for financial, military, and diplomatic support. Given the massive imbalance of power in its favor, China has begun to pressure Pakistan to allow the building of outposts where it would station its armed personnel. Afghanistan, where the Taliban are ruling now, is yet to meet the expectations of both China and Pakistan on many counts. Top diplomatic and security sources in Islamabad who requested anonymity for this report believe that China's People's Liberation Army is working at a war scale to establish military outposts in Afghanistan and Pakistan for what it claims would be smoother operations and expansion of its Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. China is desperately trying to reach Iranian oil and station its aircraft carrier in Gwadar as the world becomes increasingly hostile toward China and its predatory practices. According to a diplomatic source, the Chinese ambassador Nong Rong has held meetings with Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto and Chief of Army General Qamar Javed Bajwa in this regard. Ambassador Rong has not been in Pakistan since the end of March 2022. This year only just arrived recently in the country. However, the meeting in which he demanded the creation of outposts for Chinese forces was perhaps the first formal meeting of Ambassador Rong with the new government and state representatives. The source informed that the Chinese ambassador had been continuously insisting on the security of Chinese projects and the safety of its citizens. China has already demanded security outposts in Gwadar and also for using the Gwadar International Airport for its fighter jets. Another top source said that the facility that can be used for military purposes would soon be operational, as revealed by its fencing. However, the issue has its sensitive dimensions, as the Pakistani people may not be comfortable with a heavy Chinese military presence in the country, similar to a British East India Company enslavement. There have been fears that the country is already in a debt trap-like situation and that Chinese tactics could leave it no better than a Chinese colony. In Afghanistan, both China and Pakistan have their own set of concerns. After the Taliban's takeover, Pakistan and China expected unquestioning cooperation from the landlocked nation. However, this has not materialized fully. One of the Pakistanis' foremost demands was to keep the Indians out of Afghanistan. But the Kandahar-based Taliban have not too much of a liking for Pakistan that would allow it to call the shots. The Taliban have been keen on an independent foreign policy, including ties with India. Even Mullah Yaqub, the Taliban defense minister, has suggested military training in India. However, this was not the only area where Pakistan expected the new Afghan government to comply with its wishes. Taliban and especially the groups affiliated with the Haqqanis were expected to facilitate the destruction of the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan and hand over wanted militants to the Pakistani army. The Haqqanis soon made it clear that they would not comply. The reason is that the Kandaharis and some leaders shared the same ancestral background. Left with no choice, the Pakistani army has had to engage in complex ceasefire talks with the TTP. The new Afghan government was also supposed to recognize the Durand Line as an international border. Pakistan had erected a wire fence at considerable expense in recent years. Still, within weeks the Taliban and TTP were cutting the wire and laying claim to the Fatah region of Pakistan. According to a source, Pakistan's Chief of Army Staff, General Bajwa, had already nursed anxieties about a Taliban takeover. Still, he was opposed by his intelligence chief Faiz Hamid and by powerful corps commanders. China also has viewed the developments in Afghanistan with some concern. The Chinese have their own set of worries. The Taliban and Haqqanis show no interest in handing over Uyghur insurgents to the Chinese authorities. China also considers them not serious about developing its BRI network in Afghanistan. The diplomatic source said that China wants access to Central Asia and Europe through the CPEC in Afghanistan. The Chinese were duped by Pakistan, claiming that the Taliban was under Pakistan's control. There are concerns in Beijing that Uyghur extremists may have started collaborating with Balochi groups and the DTP to undermine the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC. Several attacks inside Pakistan have targeted Chinese citizens, including the bomb blast in Gujrat in April 2021, which the Chinese ambassador narrowly escaped. A year later, a Balochi suicide bomber killed 3 Chinese citizens near Karachi's Confucius Institute. These incidents led to a renewal of Chinese pressure on deploying their security to Pakistan, a demand Pakistan has repeatedly refused. According to the sources, China wants to expand its strategic role in Pakistan by deploying its security personnel to protect its projects and citizens. The source also said China was keen to invest in Afghanistan and wanted to expand its BRI project. Beijing needs to secure Pakistan and Afghanistan with its military outposts. China has reminded Pakistan of its history of giving outposts to America and other countries during the Cold War. China has heavily invested in Pakistan, and the demand for the arrangement for the outpost and security is getting severe with time. According to sources in the know, Pakistan has to pay 300 million Pakistani rupees to Chinese firms. These companies have already threatened Pakistan to shut down power plants if unpaid dues are not cleared. Boston Industrial Zone, Gwadar Port, Special Zone I and Zone 2, some patrolling units on CPEC's western alignment, which cover Awaran, Husdar, Has Hambantota areas, Maman Marble City, SEZ, near Momand Agency and Sas Dry Port and Mokpandas Special Economic Zone in Gilgit-Baltistan are the major Chinese projects running in Pakistan. On one side, Pakistan is trapped in the debt trap diplomacy of China, while on the other hand, the Chinese administration is constantly reminding them that they do not have trust in the Pakistani security apparatus. Pakistan does not want to annoy China, which repeatedly takes financial aid. However, accepting the demand would not only dent its global image. Further, it could also lead to domestic complications, conclude sources who requested anonymity for this report due to their proximity to decision-makers in the country. The latest exertion of Chinese pressure has put Pakistan in a tight spot regarding whether it will accede to the demands and face the consequences. Pakistan does not want to be colonized by China, similar to the British East India Company.